Well, live from our studio here, number 35, John Hammond Street, and a crowd good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on News 360. I am Noble Crosby Allen.
And I'm Bernice Abubeidulansa. The headlines in a moment.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
EcoBank.
In the bulletin tonight, global support grows for Ghana's UN slave trade justice and reparations motion to be tabled by President John Dramani Mahama.
And Zezera residents in German South demand urgent telecommunication and internet access amid global digital gap.
Also tonight, Ghana Water Limited calls for responsible water use and protection of water resources to mark World Water Day.
And on the international front, Iran's president says threats to U.S. power plants show desperation in ongoing Middle East strikes. We're grateful for your company. Do stay for the news in detail.
Let's start the bulletin from here. And Ghana's motion to declare the transatlantic slave trade the gravest crime against humanity has gained global support ahead of its presentation at the United Nations General Assembly. President John Dramani Mahama is set to table the motion and push for reparative justice, while Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa remains confident of strong backing.
We are very confident that we will succeed. We have been able to form a strong coalition working with colleagues in CARICOM, Latin America, Asia, and the Gulf countries. And we believe that we will be able to galvanize the support of the larger international community. And it is important to emphasize that this atrocity has not been properly acknowledged. There are many countries and organizations that continue to live in denial. They do not want to accept their role. They do not want to take responsibility. And that is what this resolution seeks to achieve, to bring this to the international community's attention at the United Nations, the global public square, and to seek a genuine effort by the international community to address this, to compensate people of African descent and all Africans for this atrocious crime that took place. There are also millions of artifacts that were stolen. We are demanding that they are returned to the continent. We want restitution.
Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, however, debunked assertions that the reparation being sought will only enrich the African elite and the political class.
We must emphasize that the reparations we seek is not financial support to go to political leaders, not at all. We are putting together a framework that will support the people, the real victims, in terms of educational endowment funds. Because remember that we are still living with the injustices, with the residual inequality that people of African descent face on a daily basis. So the reparations we seek is to ensure that these structural inequalities are addressed in terms of funding for projects, funding for African entrepreneurs, the young people who need opportunities, who need skills training, who need empowerment. So courses, that is what we are looking at, not funding for politicians or, if you like, a few elite to control or to, if you like, abuse. So it's going to be a very transparent mechanism.
Martin Asiedu-Date for TV3 News.
Let's now get some expert insight on this. And Professor Lord Malko Yevuga is an international relations analyst joining us now. Prof, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. The world already agrees slavery was wrong. We know that through the UN formally acknowledging and even as far back as the 2001 Durban Declaration. But on reparations, why has it been so difficult to move from acknowledgement to action?
Well, thank you, Crosby. Good to be here. I think, yes, it's been difficult because the perpetrators of that atrocity have not been willing to acknowledge the historic injustice that was perpetrated by them. So I think now that the pressure is mounting, we wait to see whether they will finally acknowledge, because that's the starting point. You first have to acknowledge that you've done wrong, then we take it from there. I think they have not done that, and hopefully now that the pressure is building at the UN with the support that is being galvanized, that will push them to acknowledge the historic wrong.
And what makes this current push different from past efforts that didn't lead to real change?
Well, I think the mobilization of support, I think Ghana has been deliberate. And you know, the African Union actually supported Ghana's move. And Ghana has been able to mobilize support from the Caribbean, from Latin America, from Asia, and all these are very important. You know, the General Assembly historically is about numbers. So if you're able to get the numbers from the Third World or the Global South, then that puts pressure on the European powers. I think that's what Ghana has done successfully. And appointing a special envoy in the form of Dr. Spio Gabra also helped to make the case more serious from Ghana's point of view. And we've seen how the Caribbean countries historically have been pushing for this, but now coming from Ghana. And Ghana played a major role as one of the points for the slave trade. So if Ghana is at the forefront and we have so much to show for in terms of the legacies of slave trade, I think that makes Ghana a legitimate person to be in the forefront. And that is what is galvanizing the support that we are getting.
Prof, there are various expectations, but what is the most realistic outcome of this UN process? Are we talking about money, policy changes, or just a stronger global recognition?
Well, I think the starting point, like I said, is the global recognition. I think the need for people to acknowledge that historic wrongs were done by slavery and colonialism, and the legacies of these wrongs continue to take place in the form of racism against the black race everywhere and apartheid that had happened. So if you acknowledge that slavery was bad, colonialism was bad and exploitative, then we can now have a better conversation about how do you do in the form of restitution. So I think what is going to happen at the UN is Ghana formally making the case and getting the support. Then because the UN Charter is a talk about human dignity and human rights, and there cannot be any other form of human dignity than acknowledging that trading in human beings was against any form of human dignity. So I think that is the starting point. As for restitution and reparations in terms of money, that can come later. So let's get the first step first.
I see. So if full reparations are unlikely in the short term, beyond the recognition or the acceptance, what smaller but meaningful wins should Africa aim for at first?
Well, you know, first of all, like the acknowledgement, historically, I mean, every year we are reminded about the atrocities of the Second World War. We are reminded about what happened to the Jewish people during the Nazi atrocities. And that is the reason why people support Israel in terms of building them a permanent home. So if we acknowledge that the African people or the black people have been maltreated or suffered greatly because of slavery, then we can begin to ask for certain form of reparation in the form of, first of all, the foreign minister was talking about returning of artifacts that were stolen, then building certain legacy projects like a monument, and also certain causes can be supported in order to give descendants of black people a certain form of education or social interventions in entrepreneurship, something that will elevate. How much money do we take as loans and aid from the West? And if you can make calculations about how much Africa as a whole owes these countries, then we can begin to have a conversation about whether or not there can be a write-off of some of these loans, for example.
Prof, I'd like to thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Professor Lord Malco Yavugaisen, International Relations Analyst, throwing some light on the current conversation, the ongoing conversation on reparations.
Let's do some other stories now. And for many children born with cleft lips and palates, the challenge goes beyond appearance. It affects how they speak, connect, and are understood. In Ghana, about 1 in every 1,200 babies are born with a cleft condition, and while some cases are genetic, others are linked to environmental factors, nutrition, and maternal health. A report by Enyonam Haliga.
At just a few years old, learning to speak should come naturally. But for children born with cleft palate, even simple words can feel like a struggle. Some are understood only by their parents. Others avoid speaking altogether, afraid of being misunderstood or teased. Because of a gap in the roof of the mouth, air meant to form speech slips through the nose, turning simple sounds into daily struggles. And over time, silence takes over.
As children are growing, they are learning how to talk. And so if you do not repair it early enough, then when they are learning how to talk, they start substituting abnormal sounds because they can't, once there's a hole in the roof of the mouth, it means they can't create a proper seal. We all know that speech is a very important part of social interaction. And without adequate speech, how will we understand each other? How will people navigate their way through the educational system, through life in general, through society? And so it's very, very important that this problem is fixed. We also notice that for a small subset of the children whose palates are fixed, they still struggle to speak clearly because although the palate has been fixed, there's still some nasal escape. They still struggle with certain sounds. And so there's this thing that we call speech surgery that we do to improve the quality of their speech.
Medical experts say cleft conditions can be caused by a mix of genetics and environmental factors. But there is growing concern about pollution, especially from illegal mining causing toxic chemicals and heavy metals released into water bodies, entering the food chain and over time affect human health, including unborn children.
There are some persons who have inherited an abnormal gene. So for some, you can see that the father or the mother had it and then they pass it on to the child. But a lot of the cases are also sporadic, meaning that it's environmental factors that cause them. So some of the factors are, one, what kinds of toxins or chemicals that the mother is exposed to. Certain medications, like some steroids, some anti-seizure medications, others can cause cleft defects. But then with the environmental factors, for instance, where a lot of our water bodies have been contaminated with very heavy metals. When these heavy metals get into the food chain, either they are ingested by fish or animals or get into the plants, our human bodies don't have an effective way of eliminating these heavy metals. So more or less, when you ingest them, they become part of the system. And then what they do is that they cause abnormalities in our DNA.
But there is hope. Through life-changing surgeries, many children are given a second chance, not just to look different, but to live differently. The procedure helps close the gap in the lip, making it easier for children to eat, breathe, and most importantly, speak.
When we do the surgery, we also have to ensure that their dental formulation are correct. Some of them, their dental formula is distorted because of the condition. So we do dental corrections and dental services, and then we come to the speech. Then we look at their speech and also ensure that they're able to speak well. If you look at a typical cleft patient treated, you realize that if you look at their profile, like standing by their side, it looks as if the lip is punched in. We need to cut the jaws and break up the lip a bit. That is orthodontic services, and that is currently the next level we want to get to. So it's not just about the surgery. There are a lot of things that happen before the surgery and after the surgery. One patient could go to 2 or 3 surgeries just to get to that end point of ensuring that they look like you and I and they speak like you and I.
For many, It is the beginning of finding their voice. With continued care, including speech therapy, children who once struggled to be understood can begin to communicate with confidence.
And from health concerns to digital access and regulation, the National Communication Authority has moved to reassure the public over the planned new SIM card registration exercise, addressing concerns around data privacy, costs, and the use of an external contractor to manage the process. Director General of the National Communication Authority, Reverend Engineer Edmond Urenchi-Fianko, spoke on hot issues.
The registration of SIM cards in Ghana has not been without controversy. Questions about who handles subscriber data, who pays for the exercise, and whether personal information is truly protected have been circulating among the public and civil society groups alike. The Director General of the National Communication Authority, Edmond Urenchi-Fianko, is now pushing back against these concerns, insisting that the process is built on a foundation of ethics and legal safeguards.
The LI is also putting in processes for anybody, including, national security, cyber security authority. You need a court order to be able to access. So let's say the police or this, and that's happening today. The police or CID are investigating somebody. They don't have a direct access to the system. You get me? So they have to obtain a court order served on us before we can authorize whoever to release the data.
On the cost of the exercise, he was equally firm, stating that the financial burden will not fall on the Ghanaian taxpayer.
We, as the NCA, we have a mandate in this. Apart from our regular work of providing regulation, we also do consumer education. Okay, if we put together an infomercial or and we bring it to TV3, you will require us to pay something. That's how you make money. Okay, right. And national processes. Okay, the state also spends on all of you. We will work with GIBA, we will work with GBC. Airtime is not free. You get me? I'm sure you will run some adverts on this. So
program. There will be some administrative costs from the NCA.
And I'm saying these are standard
but the exercise itself, the system that you're building.
No, that one we will not be paying. And I've given you examples. Like we did number portability. Not the regulator didn't pay anything. The state didn't pay anything.
The state
it became a service. What we do is to select the person providing that independent service to the players in the market.
He acknowledged openly that the NCA lacks the internal technical capacity to develop the system on its own.
Normally, what we would determine is the technical requirements. Okay, we want the system to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the person who does it must be able to deliver A, B, C, D, E. Then we say, okay, whatever procurement method that the ministry will determine to deploy is to ensure that these people, whoever is part of that process, one has the qualification to be able to deliver that, and two, demonstrates by their submission that they are able to do it within the time that is required.
So yes or no, the NCA right now does not have the capacity to be able to do that?
No. The number of developers we have in-house and the work that they are doing today, we cannot saddle them with that additional duty.
The authority says it is committed to a process that respects the rights of every subscriber, but with public trust still fragile, many Ghanaians will be watching to see whether today's assurances move beyond words.
Now, parts of the Opera Square terminal owned by the Metro Mass Transit have been encroached on. This is threatening the company's ability to accommodate 100 of the 400 new buses expected next month. Deputy Managing Director Arun Ampao Redu has issued a strong warning to private developers. There's more in the following report.
Opera Square terminal was once a major hub operated by the now defunct Omnibus Services Authority, OSA. Following the liquidation of OSA's assets in the early 2000s, these were transferred to the newly established Metro Mass Transit in 2003, during the administration of John Ejekum Kufuor. This was to create a public-private partnership for mass transport. Some key locations include Begro, Hohoi, Nkwanta, Tambai, Nkoko, and KJB. The new management of the Metro Mass Transit discovered serious encroachment of their properties upon assuming office. This is threatening the operations of the company that serves the many transport needs of millions of Ghanaians. There have been new developments at the terminal which have taken much of the space.
This side used to accommodate the office of MMT, but it's no more because of this very, edifice. And so this side has also been encroached. And we have reports that this side is also going to be encroached. And then the private developer is actually putting things together. But Metro Mass Transit is not really happy about this very development on their Opera Square terminal.
Deputy Managing Director of Metro Mass Transit, Harun Amparedo, is not happy about turn-off events.
The person who the AMA is processing his document for him to get the permits to go and develop our place, they should back off. We are swiftly moving on to the place to develop our place, including the man who pulled down our offices, and with the greatest of respect, only for us to learn that this man says that he wants to give us 2 shops. Just 2 shops. When I find out from their AMA, the AMA told us that, in fact, the whole building, the entire building, even government of Ghana, do not own anything from the entire building.
He revealed that MMT is adopting legal means to retrieve their assets.
We are standing at the back of His Excellency the President, having made that solemn pledge to the people of Ghana to make sure that whatever property that there is, which needs to be protected for generations yet unborn, we are going to implement it at Metro Mass to the latter. No curve, no bend, as part of our resetting agenda. So as we speak, our lawyers have tabled the case back again to court for us to battle it. And this new person, this new private developer who wants to develop the same place, the right-hand side when you enter, called the home base man, his name is Willie. You send that signal to him. And let me use the opportunity to call on my own brother, Raymond Archer, heading Yoko, the BNI, and the national security. The president has appointed us to help him to succeed. Ghanaians are watching us. Ghanaians are looking at us. Our children are looking at us. We need to do what is right.
The Metro Mass Transit is not the only one affected in this encroachment. Cow Lane Community Center is under threat, but residents who have stayed here for more than 30 years say they will resist every attempt.
Me, myself, this is where I work. This is where I make my living. So if you are sending me away, where do I go? And we are talking of thousands of people here. So one person cannot just come and take everything away, which we will not allow. We will resist. We can't allow them to take away our community. Especially this our community center, which serves the whole community. Those in Accra, those in diaspora, everybody when they come, this is where they all come to reside.
As the nation continues to grapple with mass transport, options like Metro Mass Transit comes in handy, but it requires deliberate efforts to ease operations and deliver to the best of its capabilities. George Cranin, TV3 News, Opera Square, Accra.
And still on infrastructure, an estimated 2.6 billion people worldwide, they still lack access to the internet, according to Global Data Report. This is a reality facing residents of Zezera and surrounding communities in the German South municipality of the Bono region due to lack of telephony connection. With a population of about 7,000, the residents are urgently appealing to authorities to connect them to modern telecommunication networks. A report by Richard Manu.
The residents say the lack of telephone and internet connectivity has significantly hindered economic activities and livelihood in the community. They explain that making phone calls or accessing the internet is nearly impossible, cutting them off from family, friends, and business opportunities.
We share boundary with Ivory Coast, so people alternatively use their SIM to make calls. That's why I'm crying on. Unless you are calling somebody with WhatsApp, else you can't call him directly. If somebody wants to send you any information, you can't get that information. Even when you apply for any job and you need some, they want to call you so that you can go for an interview or something else. There's no chance. They can't hear from you. When you want to make anything using internet, you cannot, because you don't have any access to network here.
The acting chief of Zezera, Nana Ebua Ebenezer, detailed the long-standing challenges the community has faced without network connectivity. Noted that Although Zezera shares border with Cote d'Ivoire and can sometimes access Ivorian networks, it is unfortunate that they are unable to connect to networks within Ghana. He therefore appealed to authorities to intervene.
Nipadodo a yewo area ha a yeto aba no ye duru 7,000. Anya 7,000.
We are over 7,000 people living here, but we do not have a network, and that is our challenge. And we are calling on government to come to our aid to provide us a network, and this is what we need now. The assembly member for the Abakuma Akoma electoral area in Ketia Sadiq revealed that the community benefited from a Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication GIFA project about 2 years ago. However, the project has stalled, leaving residents without any network access.
Since 2024, but the previous government built the GIFIC pool for us that we're using, that is the GIFIC network. Unfortunately, when the change of government came, the network, they disconnected us, and the reason is unknown. Because of that, we are facing numerous challenges. When we come to the education sector, teachers are refusing postings into this circuit. When you come to the health sector, teachers are refusing postings to the station.
You're still watching News 360. Now, Akoma FM has celebrated the month of Ghana with a festival which brought together various ethnic groups in the Ashanti region. Now, these groups displayed rich culture and tradition. William Evans Inkum filed the following report.
From the Gari to Fanti. The Asante to Kasina. The Peacock of Ketekrachi. The center of attraction, culture heralded. The Akoma 87.9 FM Ashanti Festival defined the Ghanaian heritage. An event marking Media General's Ghana Month celebration was to promote our culture and identity. The occasion revitalized some of our forgotten heritage as civilization evolves.
We decided that since it's becoming more like a cosmopolitan and we have a lot of the ethnic groups around, we would also want to showcase what they also have by way of tradition. And that is why we put all of them together and said that today we want to come. Each of the ethnic groups should exhibit what they have in the area of food, in the area of costume, in the area of dance.
Here at the Kumasi Center for National Culture, some traditional dishes facing the threat of extinction because of modern recipes were at display. From apreprensa, fanti to some unique traditional dishes from the upper parts of the country.
Opportunity for Ashanti region that Akoma FM, Media General, taking this program into consideration to promote our culture during this Heritage Month. And we know that culture, there are a lot of benefits in culture.
The regional director of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Mavis Jasiefriye, says more is being done to safeguard heritage.
We as GT, we are promoters of Ghana's tourism offerings, and programs such as this gives us the opportunity to help with domestic tourism drive.
William Evans Inkum with that report, and Crosby, I don't know, which of these meals have you not tasted yet?
With everything we saw in that video, I think I've tasted everything. I've tasted all of it, and
wonderful.
They are delicious meals.
They are
very
indeed.
indigenous as well.
And I hope in this month of Ghana, you'd be encouraged to try our indigenous meals as well. We'll take a quick breather. We'll be back with more news. Do stay.
Why are more and more professionals choosing flamingo paint?
As a decorator, I aim for that beautiful elegance look.
Thank you so much for staying here on News 360. We are grateful for your company. We'll bring you some other stories now. And the Ghana Water Limited is urging the public and institutions to work together to ensure sustainable water supply, stressing the need for responsible water use, prompt bill payment, protection of water bodies and an end to illegal connections. In a statement to commemorate World Water Day, Managing Director of the company, Ada Mutawakilu, noted challenges such as pollution, aging infrastructure and rising demand due to urbanization. But he however says it's expanding systems and improving efficiency to ensure reliable access to safe water for all. Here are key points in that statement. Now, these are highlights from the World Water Day summary of the statement by the Ghana Water Limited's Managing Director. Water access as a development and equality issue. Reliable access to safe water is essential for improving livelihoods, promoting gender equality and supporting national development. Infrastructure and operational challenges. The company notes that aging infrastructure, high treatment costs, and increase in demand driven by urbanization and population growth are affecting efficient water supply. The statement further highlights environmental pressures on water sources, indicating pollution of rivers and other water bodies is reducing raw water quality and increasing the cost of treatment. Also on strategic interventions to improve service delivery, Ghana Water Limited is investing in system expansion, modern treatment technologies, partnerships, and operational efficiency improvements. So those are highlights of that statement by the Ghana Water Limited.
Away from that, the Kusanaba Senior High School in the Boku West district is battling a severe infrastructure crisis that authorities say is threatening student security, hygiene and academic work. The headmaster, Burma Dauda, has made a passionate appeal for urgent intervention, describing the situation as overwhelming and deeply worrying.
With a student population of 1,812, the school has no fence wall, leaving students exposed to external threats. Earlier this month, at about 4 a.m., unknown persons allegedly attempted to kidnap a female student, an incident the headmaster says could have been tragic.
It's only when we have a fence wall that discipline can be maintained. Otherwise, in the night, strangers come in with motors, with cars, and it's a major challenge. And so the students are aware that their lives is always in danger. Look, for some time now, men have been entering their dormitory late in the night. And there's no security man. Only one security man, he cannot take care of the whole school. So sometimes I have to get up as a headmaster to go around to play the role of a security man. And it's not healthy.
Beyond security concerns, the school lacks essential facilities. There's no functional vehicle for emergency response. Management relies on motorbike for official duties, including trips to the district and regional capitals. The administration block was ripped off by a windstorm in 2020. For nearly 2 years, staff operated under trees before converting a classroom into a temporary office. Accommodation remains another major challenge. The only boys' dormitory was destroyed by fire in 2022 and has not been rebuilt. An uncompleted dormitory project started in 2009 still lacks windows, doors and flooring. Students now sleep on the ground floor of the uncompleted structure, while the upper floor is used as classroom, a situation authorities say is unsafe and unconducive for learning. The lack of adequate toilet facilities has raised serious hygiene concerns, with students expressing frustration over poor sanitation condition.
By having about, let's say, just 4 to 3 toilet facilities that are at the girls' wing, then some of them too are spoiling. You enter there and it will even be like, before you even squat, you now be scared. What of alongside and the thing collapsed on me.
You can be in class learning and some of the community boys, they'll be riding their motors anyhow, distracting us from learning. So this too, it disturbs our academic activities.
Or sometimes a student will be running up and down because of diarrhea. And because we don't have any toilet facilities in the school for the student to go there and free himself or herself, you have to run into the bush. And imagine a student running into the bush at that night. There are a lot of challenges that the person will have to face.
The regent of Kusanaba, Maurice Ayebo, called on government and stakeholders to urgently invest in the school. The district chief executive for Boku West, James Ayawigo, acknowledged the challenges and says the assembly is engaging in Get Fund and other partners to address them.
We are aware of the specific needs of Kusanaba Senior High School. We are working tirelessly within the limits of our resources to ensure that Kusanaba SHS takes its rightful place among the best schools in the Upper East region and beyond.
School authorities are now appealing to government, corporate bodies, NGOs and benevolent individuals to intervene before the situation deteriorates further.
Bridging the gender gap in Ghana's business sector is still a challenge, particularly due to limited access to funding for women entrepreneurs. Now, a new initiative led by the founder of Fearless Fund Africa, Ariane Simone, is stepping in to change that narrative.
The Fearless Fund Africa, launched in Ghana, is designed to support women who already have startup businesses by providing access to funding, mentorship, and strategic networking opportunities to help scale their ventures. Speaking at the launch, Ariane Simone emphasized that Africa's economic future depends on fully unlocking the potential of women. She noted that although women continue to drive entrepreneurship, agriculture, and community growth, they remain largely underserved by financial systems.
Finance
Financing alone, however, will not unlock the full potential of Africa's entrepreneurial women. This is why the Fearless Fund also invests deeply in education and ecosystem building. Our Get Venture Ready program has educated over 1,000 female entrepreneurs to become investor ready. We believe in equipping women not just with money, but with mentorship, network, and the knowledge required to scale globally.
Representative of the Deputy Chief of Staff, Hawa Mahamajeman, underscored the importance of the initiative, describing it as a timely intervention to address financial barriers limiting women growth in business.
Across Africa, women-led enterprises receive less than 5% of venture capital funding. This is why the Fearless Fund initiative is timely. The Fearless Fund introduces a targeted model that directly addresses this financing gap. Beyond financing, the focus of the fund on investment readiness and enterprise support training strengthens long-term sustainability.
The event created a platform for women entrepreneurs to pitch their businesses, with one standout participant walking away with a prize of 100,000 Ghana cedis to scale her enterprise.
Some good news for women entrepreneurs there. We'll take a quick breather here. When we come back, Aniela Alote brings us updates from the world of sports.
The shop currently offers more than 50 types of sports equipment, and another store is expected to open soon in Ashanti. Chief Executive Officer of Decathlon Ghana, Geoffrey Fadu, expressed the company's dedication to fostering a culture of fitness and wellness in Ghana.
We are here because we believe that everyone should have access and the opportunity to benefit and enjoy sports. Decathlon Kumasi City Mall is more than a store. It's a place where dreams can begin, a place where a child can discover a sport for the first time.
The Kumasi Metropolitan Chief Executive Richard Oforia Jamanbwedi said the opening of Decathlon at the Kumasi Mall will enhance the vibrant retail community.
Rising awareness for fitness globally has brought us a new dimension in the sportswear ecosystem. And so retail facilities like Decathlon come in handy and they play an important role. Now, globally, we're expecting to reach $1 trillion in the sports retail market by the year 2036. And I believe Ghana is not going to be left out with facilities like Decathlon here.
The Asokwa Municipal Chief Executive, Amo Kamel, appeals to the management of Decathlon to always provide the good people of Kumasi and the Ashanti region with quality products.
Well, that'll be all for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alute.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyled and Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil, powered by 3 Entertainment.
News 360 and players within Ghana's fashion industry are calling for stronger collaboration among stakeholders to help position the country's fashion scene on the global stage. Many believe partnerships among creatives, investors and industry leaders will open up greater opportunities for growth and international recognition.
Organizers and players within the fashion industry have wrapped up a one-day Fashion Future Summit and reception at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel in Accra. The event brought together key stakeholders in Ghana's fashion ecosystem to discuss ways of addressing challenges within the industry while creating opportunities for emerging designers. Discussions also focused on empowering young creatives and providing the right platforms to help them grow their brands and compete on the global stage. Powered by Fashion Connect Africa, the event ended with a fashion reception where young designers and upcyclers from the Kantamanto market showcased a range of sustainable fashion pieces.
They actually blew our minds with what they've created, and it starts from somewhere. We have to give them the opportunity. Okay, so now that we've given them this platform, I believe that the stakeholders, those who actually have the resources that is required, for them to be able to take their brands and their crafts to the next level, we'll connect with them, and we can only wish them the best.
The initiative aims to give these young designers greater visibility and access to international markets. Speaking to 3 Entertainment at the event, designers say stronger collaborations among creatives and stakeholders will be key in promoting the Ghanaian fashion narrative beyond the local scene and onto the global stage.
As a brand, you need to also reach out to your other colleague designers and other creatives in the industry to make your brand stand out, because like you say, you don't have everything in your mind. Like, you need to also get ideas and inspirations from other people, and it's always good to collaborate.
That's your entertainment. Let's bring you some international news.
Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian says U.S. threat to strike Iran's energy infrastructure show desperation, adding the Strait of Hormuz is open to all except those who violate our soil. On Saturday, President Trump threatened to obliterate Iranian power plants if the strait was not opened within 48 hours. The waterway is vital for global oil shipping. Meanwhile, more than 160 people have been injured in southern Israel. Emergency services say by missile strikes, it appears the target of the Iranian attack was a nuclear facility 13 kilometers, 8 miles away from the town of Dimona. Sudan's army has denied it carried out a deadly attack on a major hospital on Friday night in a city in the west of the country held by its rivals, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF). The head of the World Health Organization said 64 people, including 13 children, 2 nurses and a doctor, had died in the strike on El Dain Teaching Hospital and 89 others had been wounded. The RSF said an army drone had hit the hospital in El Dain, the capital of the East Darfur state, on the day Muslims were marking the festival of Eid.
And this is our package for you tonight on News 360. There's always more news on our website, 3news.com. Please log on for more. I'm Noble Crosby Adam.
And I'm Bernice Abubedulansa. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.